All right, and we are recording,
All right.
and I will go ahead and get us started. Thank you so much for joining us on Home Sweet Loan. Kristen Eck here, your host, and I have the lovely, fantastic, lots of words I could say, Richard Yeppez here with Next Mortgage as well in Texas. And I have asked Richard to join us because he does a fantastic in a lot of areas, but one of the areas that I love that he focuses on is AI, and he's really implemented it into his business. So we're going to dive into that. Richard also has a podcast called the Lending Labyrinth. So we'll share that so you guys can follow him and learn about him. But Richard, welcome, and let's hear a little bit about you. What's your background? Tell us just a little bit about you.
Yeah, this absolutely. Thank you for having me on the show. This is kind of like a crossover podcast
I
with
know.
the Lending Labyrinth and Home Sweet Loan. I think that's pretty cool. A first ever
Yes.
podcast crossover. But
Podcast.
yes, the awesome thing is we both have the privilege of working for Next Mortgage. And so I am the regional manager for Texas for Next Mortgage. Been doing mortgages for 20 years just because I don't know any better. And yeah, that's
What
kind of
got
where
you
we're at.
into mortgage? Well, like what brought you into the
My
mortgage
wife,
world?
my wife did it. That's all her fault. She was like,
Well,
you're really funny and people like you, and that's perfect for mortgage lending. And so I was like, hey, really? That's cool.
Yeah, awesome. And Richard and his wife are a fantastic team within our organization, top producing team. And so we collaborate often, love to learn from each other because we do things differently and obviously both have some success or great success in it. So we'll be seeing each other soon here in the
Yes.
lovely state of
In
Hawaii.
Hawaii,
Yes, so that's going
yeah,
to be
we're
so
gonna be
fun.
traveling buddies. We
I
need to be
know.
putting
We,
our traveling points together because
we
as soon
got
as we get back from Hawaii, we got to go to Nolans.
That's right. Yeah, we got a lot of time coming up together. So I'm excited about that. Well, so let's dive in. So you have really done a fantastic job of bringing AI into your business. And so kind of tell us a little bit about how you got started, how you learned about AI, and let's start there.
You know, I the biggest thing is I feel like I'm always the guy who finds out about stuff and implements it at the last moment. I always kick myself in the butt for not buying Bitcoin. Every, everybody was like,
Don't
"Yeah,
kick
we're gonna
yourself
buy
in the
this
butt.
coin."
Yeah.
Like, no, that's stupid. What do you want to buy a Bitcoin for? Um, and so when just the notion of AI came out, I was like, okay, I want to get into this. I want to know what this is. I don't want to miss out on what this is. And so I kind of dove full force into it because of what everybody was talking about. And then when I started using it, the possibilities just kind of opened the door and it kind of made it endless, which was pretty amazing. Um, just that what it could do, it's scary of what it can do. You use it to a point where you feel like you're actually talking to a person. Um, it's just, but at the same point in time, if you leverage it right for business, helping you expand, because sometimes you need ideas, you need to figure out how to network to people, and I think AI does an amazing job to kind of bring in a third party aspect to your business plan that you would have never thought of on your own, but you had an idea of it and they can expand on that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the bread and butter of what everything is that how do I market myself different? How do I get my message across? How do I let people know that I'm here for their mortgage needs, and they can help you with all of those answers?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's one of those things that I've started diving into more and more lately, and it is scary. So that's the first piece. It's like, wait a
Right.
minute,
You
how
know, it's
does it
really
know
scary.
all that? But it really is a time saver. I mean, I have thrown a couple things in there where it would have taken me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but it would have taken me maybe probably 15 minutes to put it together, and I kind of threw it out there very politely. I do talk to it like it's like I say please and thank you.
Yeah, I do too. I say good morning to it, and it's right. It's
But I threw it in there, and it came out with like exactly perfect me, like because I've trained it to be, to know who I am and how I talk and what the type of things the way that I speak. But it came out with this amazing like response, and I was like, okay, this is like huge, right? I mean, we have so many things we're juggling on a daily basis that to be able to throw something in there and save yourself maybe 15 minutes is
Oh
huge.
yeah.
So
Time saving is probably the number
100%.
one selling point because like you said, you'll come up with a campaign, you'll come up with this great idea and you're like, great, well now I have to implement it. Well,
Right.
you have that conversation with ChatGPT. I call mine Jubilee, by the way, um, because
Everything's
I
fine.
just hated saying, "Hey, ChatGPT," so I gave her a name. I named her Jubilee.
I
Uh,
love it.
but it's easier to kind of say, "Hey, here's my idea.
Hmm.
Run with it and give it to me." And then, like you
And then
said,
tweak it. Yeah,
oh
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, the fact that you can kind of be like, well, I like this, but I don't like that. Take that out, revise it, make it shorter, make it longer, blah blah blah. So, I mean, that's cool.
absolutely.
What are all the resources you're using for AI right now? Obviously, ChatGPT.
So I use a number, and what's great is that AI in general, like not even ChatGPT, AI in general is growing just exponentially. So I've been able to use, of course, ChatGPT is my number one function, but I've been able to utilize a site that creates videos for you based off of a script you input. So you'll input a script, which I get from ChatGPT, and then I will input that script into OSS dot AI, and that will create a minute 60-second video of the script, and that's content I can put out. And the great thing about it is that you're not getting Richard all the time. You're getting different points that lead back to me, but you're getting different information points. So I'll use that. I found another website that allows me to create, in Chat GPT again, I'm able to create pictures of whatever my imagination can cultivate. So, Roosevelt is our mascot here at Next Mortgage. And so I'll create a lot of pictures with Roosevelt. Well, a picture's good, but animating that picture is better. And so I found a site where you can put that picture in the site, and then you say, hey, this bear is just kind of sitting in front of a house. Make him dance like he just sold this house, and they will animate it, which
Yeah,
is
it's
nuts.
amazing.
And so you're taking your marketing to the next level because I don't know how to make a cartoon. I mean,
No.
I'm clearly sure if you showed me over and over again, it'll take me forever, but it's doing this in seconds.
And
Um,
you could hire a marketing company to
Correct.
do all of this, right? But why would you do that when you can do it yourself?
Absolutely. And that marketing company is not going to be cheap either.
No, no. Yeah, and all these different, I know Canva has AI now, and like so all of these different places that offer, all sorts of where was I? I was in something else recently that I saw that it was asking if you wanted the AI version of it. Everybody's coming out with something that
Right.
is really helpful for your business to take, grow your business, take time away from you having to spend time creating things for the business. And so it is truly a time saver, but also money. I mean, like for you to hire, like you said, the marketing company to come up with all these things
Oh yeah.
is expensive and not at your fingertips. Like you could potentially wait days for something like that before an AI type of service. So that's awesome. And then I've even seen you do some songs. You've written some songs with AI.
That's more Lynn diving into her thing. But again, um, Lynn found this site is Suna.com, Suna.ai, um, and you just write a script of, hey, I'm a mortgage broker and I want to write a country song on, how I provide service, and I want this to be in the song, and I want this to be in the song, um, and within seconds, and you'll get this amazing song, and you can dedicate the songs to whoever. And so what we've been able to do on the marketing side is we're actually giving these songs to agents, because putting their names in it, kind of letting them people know who what they are and what they can do. But the great thing about it is you can share it with other people on their social media.
Yeah,
But you would think some Grammy artists sang the song and it's all fake. It's all AI.
yeah,
It didn't exist before you typed it in. But it's amazing to see how AI can just generate. And I guess that's a scary thing we were talking about.
right.
Like, if you said, "Hey, I wanted Michael Jackson to sing this," well, unfortunately, Michael Jackson's not alive anymore. But you can have a song where the AI is singing like him. It's like, well, where does it end?
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it this morning on our call, but like, it's all so cool and also interesting to use and put into your business. It will never replace obviously the human part of what we do. So
Exactly.
obviously borrowers and realtors and clients work with us because of the level of service that we provide, and
Right.
so these are just great tools to throw into our business,
Hmm.
to help us with that and help us with being more effective. But the human piece is never going to go away, and that's where I think that helps give you peace of mind that AI can't take over everything, right?
Oh, absolutely. There in any AI, anything you do, there's the human element. So it doesn't matter if it can do whatever in seconds. It's still requiring your input to
Right.
create whatever you're trying to create. And
So I have
so,
to have the idea.
right now, the day that you get a phone call and it's like, "Hey, I'm ChatGPT. I want to help you with your mortgage. How can we get started?" And I'm going to be completely frightened when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so how are you using any AI services for like the mortgage side of the business? Like, so we've talked about like all the marketing piece, but is there anything that you use AI for when it comes to like structuring, how you correspond with clients, or the flow of your mortgage business, anything like that?
Well, uh, ChatGPT has been a huge um, teacher as far as making sure how I convey. Because, the human element of what our a mortgage industry is, it's the most, it's the biggest purchase any of our customers are going to make in their life, and sometimes, you'll be able to write an email, spit it out really quick, but I'll use ChatGPT to say, "Hey, let's
Uh-huh.
just make sure I understand I know what I'm talking about."
Well,
And so you'll
yes.
get ChatGPT to rewrite it for you and be like, "That's what I meant."
That's good. It's so funny. I have a girlfriend who she is in a totally different industry, but she's like, I sometimes my emails come across really they can sound rude.
Mm,
And she's like, and sometimes I want them to be direct with a call to action, but I don't want them to sound rude, right?
yeah,
So she'll write the email out and then throw it in Chat GPT and just say, soften this message. And it gives her exactly what she's trying to say, direct, but without it being so rude. So, I mean, really, it doesn't take away you doing and like doing the activity of what you're trying to do. It just almost can help tweak it and make it more effective for you. So I love that you're doing that. I actually should start doing that, because sometimes I'm very direct to the point because I'm in a rush and I'm like, da, 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 da,
right.
da, just fire it out, and then I'm
I
like,
need this. Give me these docs. We need to get you closed. We need
yeah,
to make this happen. Yeah, absolutely. And again, because like you said, sometimes people will read an email and it doesn't come across the way you want them to come across, and that's another function of ChatGPT. You could say, "Hey, can you rewrite this email? Make it more humorous, or
right.
make it more serious, or make it more business oriented," and she'll take that direction and completely rewrite it for you. Aside from making sure if there's any errors in
Errors, or yeah, the grammar, all that
punctuation,
stuff.
it's totally changing the dynamic of the conversation.
Yeah. Where do you think the future of AI and mortgage or lending is going?
I think as far as mortgage and lending, well, let me cat back. I think as far as real estate's concerned, I think it's kind of already getting there. I think there's going to be a point where, I know you can kind of do this now by kind of tabbing in Zillow. Let's just take Zillow, for example, because that's a common denominator, where you can go in there and say, These are my constructs. I want this, 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 this. Show them to me." I think in the Zillow function, I think there may be a point where they'll AI it more, where you'll get more of a, hey, this is this and this is this, and kind of tune that all together based off of what your needs are or what they think your needs could be as far as options on showing you homes. Um, in the mortgage side of things, um, I think AI could definitely take an approach. I don't know if you do this, but you're able to throw in all of our guidelines into ChatGPT and ask it questions from the guidelines you've inputted. So yes, you can do control find and look for that guideline and ask it, or you can make sure that someone else is proofreading this for you and saying, okay, well, how do I go about doing this? And ChatGPT says, well, based off of your own guidelines with your company, um, you can do this for this reason. And so I think that's only could only be advanced where there'll be a point where guidelines are all already inputted into an AI software where you can just kind of go and ask it and say, "Hey, I'm doing such and such kind of loan. Can I use such and such kind of income? And what do I need to make that happen?" And
Yeah.
the AI is just going to spit it at you where it's going to be company based.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and I think that's a great suggestion for anybody that's doing really anything when it comes to like figuring out how to do things and interpreting and not having to spend 45 minutes going through guidelines. Again, I love the piece of there's always a gray area, so there's always going to still be a need for the human to be a part of the transaction, because there's a lot of times that a guideline will read. Uh, X, Y, and Z. And then you're like, but is it really X or is it a little Z? And then you can kind of help. That's how you do it all the time. You're saving loans left and right. And it's because the interpretation, and it's because of how deep you go with understanding the interpretation and then getting what you need to make it fit in to make sense for an approval. So if you strictly just rely on AI to do that for you and you take the human out of it, then we may not be doing a lot of loans.
Exactly. I'm telling you, like it. I mean, if you, and I guess that's the great thing, like we were saying this morning, the human element. If someone refers you somebody, you'll probably take that referral a lot more serious than if you read a Yelp review about this restaurant. Let's just say, hey, I want to know where good Italian food is, and your buddy tells you, oh man, I went to this Italian restaurant. It was great. The service was this, and you could probably read a Yelp review and it tell you the complete opposite. Well, I mean, your buddy, the human element, you may take more inclined because he knows you, he knows more about you. You say, well, let me, so and so said it was good. Let me try it out and kind of do like that. And so I think when you have, because we deal a lot with people. This is a people business, and
Yeah.
so when an agent says, "Hey, use Kristen or use Richard," because I've done all this business with them, and we've had this kind of rapport, and they're always very professional and things like that. Um, you're going to be more inclined to be like, okay, well, because my agent, the professional I hired, kind of has this relationship with this individual. I'd be more inclined with them opposed to, well, I Googled and AI told me that, according to my selection, Kristen may be a better fit for me,
Right. Right.
which is kind of already happening to a point. But I think, like, again, the human element, you'll be more inclined to listen to that as opposed to, especially on a purchase as big as this.
It's such a big transaction. Yeah. It's such a stressful, at times can be stressful. And so obviously having that human point of contact with empathy and all that is super important. Do you use chat at all when it comes to like your buyer behavior? So, and I asked this from a place of,
I heard about this.
we were just at that summit, and there was somebody that spoke on using chat to kind of understand the buyer and their behavior differently, which I've never even thought to do, but I actually kind of find it a little interesting. I don't know if I have time for that, but I find it interesting.
Um, I went so there was a conference earlier this year that Kristen had the privilege of going to. I couldn't because I knew I was going to be doing all these other conferences on top of going to Hawaii. But Lynn always takes a lot away from that, and she came home, or she actually called me the day of. I guess she heard it, and they were talking about how there is a professional that uses ChatGPT and kind of puts the qualities of that potential borrower in ChatGPT as far as what they do, and going into their Facebook page, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
and kind of, okay, well, this person has 4 kids, and this person actually attends bunco on Mondays, and this person is a single mom, or and how should I approach this person on a professional standpoint as far as making them feel comfortable about using me for business? um, I've really never thought about that, doing that aspect, because I think a lot of what um, and this may be just a skill of mine. I think it's a skill of yours too, but very good at reading people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If you're across from somebody and you're talking to them, and then their arms are crossed, and you're like, "Oh, I'm losing them," are
Yeah.
they kind of just they're joking around with you as you're joking? I think you can kind of take more control over that conversation, opposed to going into it and just kind of knowing in your head, okay, this person, um, not timid a little bit, but you got to come across, because I think everybody, when it comes to this, unless they're a repeat buyer, they're timid in the whole aspect. They're hanging on to every word you're saying as far as first time home buyers. Okay, you approve me, now what? Okay, I think we found a house, now what? And so I don't think I can get that from ChatGPT. Now they can probably give me notes to say, hey, don't forget to mention this. It looks like she's a cancer survivor or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I can see how that can be used to analyze an individual. And that's probably how our phones analyze us and show us what to show us on our
Yeah.
Facebook feeds. um, but yeah, I just think I still have the personal touch on that, where I actually
You
like
like to
talking
learn
to
that
the customer.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like having those communications.
Yeah, I think it's again, like you, never thought of it. And I think it's so funny that Lynn called you from there, because it was a very like, oh wow, that's definitely an interesting way you could use,
Absolutely.
AI. Where I think I could probably get on board and differ a little bit is every client's so first time home buyer, for example, there could be important, and you and I do this every day. So we probably, and I tend to sometimes do this, talk a little bit. I use some terminology every once in a while that um, a first time home buyer may not understand, because it's lingo that we're used to. And a lot of times you have to break it down into a much more simpler level. I could see utilizing chat gpt for something like that, maybe
Right.
some first time home buyer language that is important to use, things like that. But I agree, I don't well, to my first point, I don't know that I have the time to figure out all that stalking and then
I know that's too much. I mean, that guy
a
just takes
lot. I might as
back
well
to
just
our
have a
time.
conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to be like, oh, hey, I saw you had Shih Tzus.
Yeah. But I do find that interesting. I think that's a very interesting take, and she does obviously have some success with her business, So I find that interesting. It's it's very, what I find interesting even more so is how everybody uses it differently, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, I think that the fact that she took that and went to that level with it is just interesting. I find that interesting in general. But so, as far as agents, how do you see your agents using the AI to help in their business?
So I think that's the biggest thing. I think agents in general, there's some agents that their social media is over the top, out of this world, and you commend them for it. Like, they are at these open houses, they're showcasing their homes, their tips, more home real estate tips. They are on it. Um, and I would say that the scale of the ones that are on it and the ones that are just trying to figure out their social media page, um, is really far apart. So,
Yeah.
but they're hungry for it. They know that this is something. I know of an agent who uses ChatGPT to create her listing descriptions.
Yep.
And the awesome thing is about ChatGPT, you could just put in an address. Hey, write me a listing description for 123 Sycamore. And it's going to get the bedrooms right. It's going to get how many, it's going to get all the dimensions correct. And you're
Please
like,
check it though. Please check
yeah,
it.
exactly. But part of a listing description is this great description of the house that you read it and you're like, well, man, I want to see this house. And so ChatGPT can do that. And that's a time saver for them.
I mean, it could be hours. I mean, think about how much time agents do spend on writing listing descriptions.
Right, right,
A
right,
lot of them are very lengthy, and you want it to come across in a very, in a way that is, yeah, I really want to see that property. So it can't be like boring, right?
right.
But
Absolutely.
think of the time saver that is for the agent that's using that.
Oh yeah, no, like you said, if they got 5 listings they just got, and they got to get the pictures up, they got to get the listing descriptions out. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. As far as agents go, I've seen a lot. It's you have to really. So what I have learned about the just using it in general is you really have to train it to be train it who you are, which you can do, and even with the free version, you can train it to let them know, like let it know who you are and what your the way you like to speak and where you're located and all those
Right,
good things. But you want it to speak the way that you would speak. Otherwise, people that do know you or that do business with you would know that that's not you. It's some sort of AI service. So the other recommendation I have is just like I said, make sure you proofread it. I have seen some posts out there where it's like insert name, and I'm like, ew.
I've gotten the emails like that before, where I like some. I'm actually doing like a first time home buyer, no, investment event, and you could tell the I guess the assistant or the coordinator. She wrote me and she was like, "Hey, just let me know when you get all this." And I'm reading it, and that, like, towards the bottom is like, "On date here."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
We
like,
still
"What's the date?"
remember, it is still not human, and you do need to fact check it. In general, just fact check it and read it to make sure that it's saying what you want it to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I actually feel
um,
good that ChatGPT needs me
that's right.
as much as I need
As
it.
much as Gemini is her name,
No, Jubilee. So
Jubilee.
I was a huge comic book guy, and still am, I guess you could say. But there was a comic book. There's a Marvel X-Men character named Jubilee, and it was a character who could create power from her hands. And so I always think, like, working with ChatGPT, you're creating a
I
knowledge or
love that.
power or whatever. So I said, because I didn't want to call her Siri or Alexa or
Yeah,
something. I was like, I'm gonna call you Jubilee.
I like it. I like it. I have not named mine, but you are getting me down the path of maybe I should.
You should, because saying "Hey, ChatGPT" all the time just kind of, and it gives it a more human element, which is
Yeah,
scary. Like you said, you say thank
I
you
say
and
please and
all
thank
that
you.
stuff. So coming across and saying, "Hey, Jubilee, can you give me this?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, Richard," and she'll print it all out or
I
whatever.
love it. Yeah. I love it. I think that if you're not using AI in your business to some capacity, I mean, like you don't have to be using it for everything, right? But if you haven't introduced it into your business in some capacity, whether it's to help you with listing, writing descriptions, to help you draft campaigns, emails, social media, anything like that, you definitely are missing out. It's the way our world is going. It's we're headed in that direction, and if you're not really on board with it, I think that um, you're going to miss out on opportunities and just ways to save time and
No, I,
grow
th- I
and
think
all
you're
that.
absolutely right. You don't want to. It seems like everything that social, news, social media, even the new iPhone has called Apple Intelligence. I mean, and we probably use our phones more than any other device in the world.
Yeah,
Um, it's that's where it's going. It's
yeah,
it's going there, learning it, and like you said, they have a free version. But I wanted everything it could do. That's why I
yeah,
paid for my version. But learning it as much as you can learn it, I think you're not selling yourself short by
sure.
trying to learn something about it.
No. And I started with the free version, and I will tell you at some point I was like, well, I think it made me. I was using it so much. But it was like, you're gonna have to get over to the paid version.
Chrissy,
Um,
you're really cheating this system we got going on here.
so I now I'm on the paid version, and it's interesting. I have my marketing girl. We will compare because she still has the free version on hers, and then we'll compare. And it does the paid version does give you quite a bit more, so it's worth it. It's $20 a month, and it definitely will help. And just doing the things that will help you in your business. So I appreciate you spending some time with me. I again thought, who better to talk about this with than you? You've been using it for a long time now, way longer than I have, and there's a lot of things I've seen that you do that are very, very cool with it. And I was like, we got to get him on here to see
definitely.
Susan. So thanks for spending a couple minutes.
So Kristen, I know I'm on your show. We're
Yes,
on your show, but we're doing a crossover. So
that's right.
we do a 5 for 5 on the Lending Labyrinth. Okay.
Okay.
So I'd like to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to
I'm
reverse
not
the roles
prepared for
here.
this.
Just so your audience gets to know you a little better.
I like it.
So question number 1, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be and why?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to say the Caribbean somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say
Not
like,
close enough to the beach. You just want to
I
be
know,
completely
right?
on the
Yeah,
beach.
I'd like to be on an island. The
There you
life,
go.
why? The life is just so different. We visited we're St. Thomas last October, and it's just so laid back.
Yeah.
People live just so differently than we do here, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's why.
Awesome. Okay. Question 2, if you could learn a skill immediately, you just, bam, I got this skill. And it doesn't have to be business related. What would it be?
A skill. I would probably say time management. And I say that with
Oh, that's horrible.
and I
And
don't
you'd be like, man, I
understand
want to be a
why.
professional chef.
No. Okay, that kind of skill. I don't really. Well, a professional chef does sound pretty good.
Yes. So I actually had a guest, and she was like, I just want to be able to look in my refrigerator and know I could make something from what's left in the refrigerator. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty handy.
Yeah, I actually creativity. Like, I don't know. I think that's a skill or a trait, right?
Yeah,
I'm not super creative, and I think that's it's a cool like part of your thinking to have.
right. Okay. Question number 3, if you could have coffee with anybody in the world, celebrity, live or dead, who would it be?
Gosh, these are like I really needed some time to think about this.
That's why they're fun.
Yeah. Let's see. I would probably say, I know everybody's going to hate this. I'm going to say Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift and the Swifty crew.
Yeah, and the reason why, I mean, I know not a lot of people like her, but she works so hard
Yes.
and has
Yes.
come, like, I think the start to where she is now, I think that I think it's such a good lesson for people to learn. Who cares if you care about her political beliefs, all that stuff. I know that's why a lot of people don't like her, but I just think that hard work pays off, and I just would love to, like, learn how she got there.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and I think it's easy to hate something as big as Taylor Swift because you're like, man, she's like bigger life. I don't care about the whole football stuff and things like that, but
Yeah.
she appears, and I don't take celebrities for anything, but she appears to be straight as an arrow. She does what she says, and it's kind of, you get what you buy into, and I
Yeah.
think that's very rare in Hollywood.
100%.
Okay, question number 4. What is your secret talent?
Hmm. I am very intuitive.
That must be bad for your boys.
Yeah, yeah,
Who broke this?
yeah. I feel like it's strange. Like I just have this strange like ability to be like like I'll tell my husband Vince. I'll be like, I think that this person is feeling this way, and he'll be like, where would you even get that from? And I'm like, I just know it, and then it'll come out, and I'm like, see, told you.
Right, right. Well, that's good. That's good to have in this business, especially if they're, just like, man, she's just not getting back with me. She's not feeling it. But
Yeah.
that is a great, a great thing to have in this business. Okay, last question. What is the thing when it comes to buying homes that you have to have? This is the number one thing on your checklist. You have to have this when it comes to any property you have.
If I'm buying a home.
Yes.
I love myself a fantastic large island in the kitchen.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
it? So like, and I have to tell Lynn on this. Is it for entertaining purposes, or is it because that's just the center of the home? This is where we all eat and congregate. Is it for the
It's
entertainment side of it, where you can kind of
it's everything.
display? Huh?
Yeah, it's everything. It's the
Okay.
entertainment. I love to have. We do love to entertain, so I love like to be able to like entertain in that section. I love that we all like the boys do their homework there. So and while I'm cooking, they're right there. So it's very like everybody's right here. We eat a lot of times. We just eat dinner there as a family.
Yeah.
It's just easy to clean up. So I mean,
The
it's
heart of the
almost like
home.
it's the heart of the home. And then when you entertain, everybody just stays right there in the kitchen,
Yeah.
right? So I'm
Absolutely.
usually in the kitchen. Now they're hanging out with me.
Well, that's our 5 for 5, and thank you so much for participating, and thank you so much for letting
Yes.
me be on your show. This was amazing.
Yes, thank you for joining me. I learned some stuff from you, and I know a lot of people will learn and take what some of the ways you're using AI and chat to grow their business. So thank you, and I will see you soon.
See you later.
All right, bye.